He said, here's the deal. We'll get you a taxi down, as much beer as you can drink, a curry, and then a taxi home. I don't think that'd work maybe with the first team squad at the moment, do you?
No, absolutely not. Helicopter above us, shining a big searchlight on us. So next thing, goes round the corner, the riot squad's there, truncheons out, shields and everything. Like Mr. Losing Charge. I'm like, I don't know who is. Anyway, more points to me. I asked Sean had answered the phone. So he was talking, he says, where's your dad? He says, oh, he's out. He says, tell him Kevin Keegan's phoned up. He said, well, he hasn't. He said, I'm Kevin Keegan. We put the phone down. So we're driving down, there's all the traffic, put the sirens on, ambulance siren. So
with the skeleton hanging out of the window.
Yeah. This cuts all the myths out about how it was at Luton or Millwall. So he just stood up and started singing, if you drink you will die, if you don't drink you will die, so it's better to be drunk than be sober when you die, just like the fans of the Invisible Man, we're not really here.
Mike Wood here from Woody and Horlock. We haven't got Kev with us today because we've had to move this one forward. Got a very, very special guest today. A fan's favourite, a guy called Don Price, and he was chairman of the Prestwich and Whitefield Supporters Club, the biggest Man City fan club in the world. And he's here to share his experiences, the fun he had with Man City, a bit about his life, and also the real origins of the Invisible Man song. So welcome, Don. How are you feeling today, mate?
Well, after that intro, I've got a lot to live up to now.
Well, when did we first meet?
We met at City Supporters do Eaton Park Social Club, probably about 1996, 97.
Yeah.
He invited Mick McCarthy down and he got in touch with me. He was not an Ireland manager at the time.
Republic.
Republic, sorry. Get mixed up with Kevin. So I used to just write letters to anybody and everybody, and he replied. So the Republic of Ireland manager replying to me. I'm like, this is everyone, he's replying. So he said he'll come to a meeting, but he'll only come till 9:30. So you brought him, you actually brought him, that's the first time I met you.
Wow.
And Curly Watts was there from Coronation Street, Frank Sidebottom and that. And then once I got talking to you and you knew all these players, I was in your represent.
Oh mate, was you?
Yeah.
Was you? Woody? Can you bring Woody? Can you have a word with him? Woody? Yeah. But I delivered, didn't I? Brought him down.
Absolutely, you were sorting you out a couple of beers, a few beers, taxi there and back.
Mate, I'll tell you what the deal. I'll tell you guys what the deal was. The deal was. Woody, can you bring whoever? Paul Walsh, Andy Dibble, whoever the hell it was. He said, here's the deal. We'll get you a taxi down, as much beer as you can drink, a curry, and then a taxi home. I don't think that'd work maybe with the first team squad at the moment, do you?
No, absolutely not. I remember one do we had as well, you said you can get Walshy down. Walshy was at Sky at the time. You can get Walshy down, but we've got to pay for his aeroplane. I can't pay for an aeroplane. I was thinking a private jet or something. I can't pay for someone's aeroplane. I said, no, we can't do it. I said, what we want in there, can't we just get me a car or something? Then he says, no, you can fly up for like 90 quid return or something on some plane. I said, oh, get him.
It was cheap getting Walshy for 90 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bless him.
But then he must have stayed at your house tonight because we played the next day and he was on the table as well. You invite me on your table, I invite myself.
No, I think I invited you, Don.
I just turned up. Hello, Woody,
Well, there were fun times in your club.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So when did you first take over as chairman there?
Well, we actually formed the club. How it started, it was City were really bobbing at the time. And it was like people wanted rid of Swales and Fanny Lee take over, and lots of people were joining an independent supporters club, so I joined that. But at the same time we was organising trips to away games, so I thought it'd be easier if we had a supporters club and it'd make it easier. So it was the Sheffield Wednesday away. I just put it out in Prestwich, we're going to go Sheffield Wednesday away, anybody fancy coming? So we filled two coaches, two coaches and a minibus. So I don't know if you ever heard of the Battle of Brighouse. So anyway, we went to the game, we stopped off before the pub after, and then after the game, went to a place called Brighouse on the way back, not far from Bradford. So we had a few pubs and stuff. So a lot of lads went into a snooker place called Cheers Bar. So the coaches were going to come back in about half an hour, so I thought, job's done. I'll go for a little walk down the road, phone Kath up from the pub, so everything's sorted, we'll be home in half an hour. I just thought, I heard a couple of police sirens, but I thought, nothing of it now to do with us. Come out, it's police, helicopter above our heads, shining the big searchlight on us. So next thing, I goes round the corner, the riot squad's there, truncheons out, seals and everything, and at the same time, one of our coaches come whizzing past with just about 3 people on it. All the others were herded up. So, like Mr. Who's in charge? I'm like, I don't know, who is? Anyway, everyone points to me. So he says, well, we're not a problem. He said, we'll just want you all out of here. So they put about 100 of us on one coach. We got a police escort.
Right, were they scrapping with anybody? Or
what had happened? We think they were Leeds fans. What had happened was, someone shouted up, come on everyone, your coach is going. So most of them went. So they left about 20 in there, so they shut the door on this 20, and then they attacked this 20.
All right, yeah.
But they attacked the wrong 20. All these 20 were up for it. They got fire extinguishers out and stuff like that. But my brother-in-law got a bottle on his head. I thought, I'm going to get a barking off Kath when I get home now. I'm phoning her up, everything's alright, we'll be up in half an hour, 40 minutes. Then World War III erupted.
But I mean, your supporters club, how many did you get in there? It was like 350, was it, something?
Yeah, I think we actually crammed about 400 in once. I think it was licensed for 250 or something like that. But yeah, we used to have them on the windowsills and all sorts of things. It was
always mobbed, wasn't it? I mean, and you know what, Don? Fair play to you. You were so passionate.
Yeah.
And you know, you got stuck in, didn't you? I mean, you phoned me like every day and you must have minded everybody.
Oh,
yeah, but you got people down. I mean, if you think about the players that you got down, I mean, the list is, I mean, I remember it. I mean, it would probably take you 10 minutes to name all the players.
Yeah, but we got nearly every manager connected, because we went through a few managers.
Yeah.
We got nearly every manager. The only manager that wouldn't come was Joe Royal, who said he wouldn't come.
Right.
Because his excuse was, if you come to Ireland, you'd have to go to Woofers. I said, well, what's wrong with that?
Right.
You know, what else are you doing on a Wednesday night or something?
Right,
like that, you know? Don't watch Coronation Street, come down to her doing stuff. But Phil Neal, he was going to come, but he got sacked, so he followed up, he couldn't come.
But yeah, because I noticed you had Brian Horton, he was down there, wasn't you? Alan Ball, you had down there.
Yeah, they all come. You know, Franny Lee was chairman, he came, David Bernstein was chairman. Because everyone was saying, you can't get, these people won't come.
These are the chairman and the managers of the club. I mean, you did so well.
I'm pinching myself, you know, I'm Don Pratt through the LMI sort of thing, and he's phoning up. I'll tell you one story about Kevin Keegan, though. I was in the house and he phoned up. I didn't realise, you know, Sean had answered the phone. So he was talking, he says, where's your dad? He says, oh, he's out. He says, tell him Kevin Keegan's phoned up. I said, well, he hasn't. He says, I'm Kevin Keegan. He put the phone down. So then when we was at a do, Kevin come, he says, where's your Sean? He says, you put the phone down on me. And I'll see another one with Andy Dibble. Andy Dibble phoned our house up because we just got a new branch secretary. He was what do you call him? Branch president, that's it. So we got a new branch president, Chris Greenacre, because Andy was hit and miss.
Chris Greenacre, I've not seen him for years.
Yeah, he's in New Zealand now.
Is he?
So anyway, Andy phoned our house up, so Cat picked the phone up. He says, is Mr. Price there, please? So he says, Cat says, no. So Mrs. Price, he says, I wonder if you could help me. She says, so-and-so from the News of the World. She says, I just found out that you've got rid of Andy Dibble as your branch president. I wonder if you could give us a statement. She said, Come like that. No, he said, I'm only joking, tell him the Desert Warrior. Because he always called him the Desert
Warrior.
Yeah. You know, tell the Desert Warrior phoned up. And another time I done it with Arshan. So Arshan says, he's gone out to a meeting. You mean he's gone on the piss again? So he says, tell the Desert Warrior, he used to call me the Desert Warrior. I don't know if he knew it in the Navy.
Well, he's on the mend now, Dibs.
Yeah, that's really good.
He's a bit unwell, but obviously Kevin's, best of luck to Kevin. Kevin's going through treatment at the minute. Yeah. And of course, Andy Morrison, he came down to your place, didn't he?
Well, absolutely. Well, the first time we met Andy as well, because one of the blokes who he worked at City doing something or other. I'll remember his name in a minute. I got in touch with him, and Andy's ever played one game for us. He'd only just signed. I'm straight in the ribs. So we put him up at the Village Hotel in Prestwich, Sedgley Park in Prestwich, and we was actually raising money for Henshaws for the Blind. We used to raise money for their Christmas party each year. We used to donate £500 for them each year. So Andy come, and there's about half a dozen partially blind kids there. Oh, he lapped it all up, big muscle man like Andy, and all these little kids, I just thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Well, he is an absolute top man, isn't he? I mean, he's absolute top man, and he's going through it at the minute. Obviously, he's really struggling, but he's hopefully on the mend.
Yeah.
And but no, he's a great guy. And 27 years sober, Don. Bit like yourself.
27 hours.
We'll come back to that. Let's stick to the supporters club for now.
Well,
go on.
Before the supporters club started, again, we used to organise coaching and everything, but I worked at Prestwich Hospital, and what they started doing is outsourcing cars and vans and things, so you could actually hire a van if you were doing removals and that, so you could hire a van. So I got in touch with them and says, any chance like a minibus? We're playing Bradford away it was, last game of the season, or one of the last games. We had to get a draw or something and then play the next home game or something like that. So anyway, they said, yeah, you can have a minibus and a driver was a City fan. And it turned up, it was one of these ambulances. That ambulance was written down the side and a blue siren on. So we stopped off somewhere. We got these, because these inflatables were all the. So we got an inflatable skeleton. So we was hanging this out the window. So we're driving down. There's all the traffic. Put the sirens on, ambulance siren. So
with the skeleton hanging out the window.
Yeah. So anyway, we pulls up next to the police cars after us. They think we nicked this ambulance. They think we nicked it. So parts up. I mean, two of the lads actually got arrested. Started going off to the police and that. So I'm trying to calm it down. So I left it at the driver's sort out. So it was all sorted. But on the way back, the Bradford fans must have heard about this. The bricks it. The window went through. The window went through.
Oh, that's bad, isn't it?
For all intents and purposes, an ambulance, but all on the back, cans of lager and everything.
Oh, that's bad. But I mean, your star role there, I mean, you're Colin Bell, Franny Lee, Mike Summerby, Neil Young, I've seen his photograph.
Yeah.
And by the way, Don's done, can we see in these, Don's done 4 books, down. 4 books, these 2. You see those, George?
Up a bit, yeah.
Up a bit.
There you go.
Thanks, George. And these 2. He's written these. Loads of history about City. Some quality photos in here, by the way, Don. So I'm going to have to take loads of these photos. It'll keep the Facebook page going for about a month, these photos. So I'll keep posting them on, and they are actually... It's a big part of City's history. Yeah. You've had virtually everybody who was anybody. George King Clancy, Paul Walsh,
Well, touching on with Neil Young, we actually got him down to St Mary's Park to do some training sessions with the kids.
Yeah.
With about 40 or 50 kids, training session, and then we went back to the...
He did that, he coached kids for years, didn't he?
Yeah, so he coached our lot, and then we went back to the British Legion. We put everyone on hot dogs and beef burgers and that, and we present them all with certificates, and the kids were buzzing. Neil Young there, buzzing.
I used to see him at school. My kids went to school and he did coaching for the kids after. Yeah. He died quite young, didn't he? It was a shame. He's a really, really nice fella.
Yeah, well, what we hoped to do was, because City wouldn't give him a testimonial, he always believed that one was agreed. Right. When he left City, because City wanted some money, so they sold him on the agreement that he'd get a testimonial, but that was under Peter Swales, and that never happened. So what the supporters clubs did, hold a series of events sportsmen dinners, fundraisers. So lots of supporters clubs actually raise money that way, you know. And we brought him down. We got other players down. We even had Bert Troutman at one of our meetings. Bert Troutman. Bert Troutman. Honestly, God, Bert Troutman.
Wow.
Yeah, Bert Troutman.
I never knew that, mate.
Yeah,
that's quality.
Bert Troutman come with like with Paddy Fagan and Roy Clark.
I mean, that is serious Man City history, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for the younger viewers who might not even know, Bert Troutman broke his neck in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
And of course, Neil Young scored the winner against Leicester in '69. I tell you what, I did notice on one of your photographs that you sent me, a lovely one of you and Paul Power and Neil Young.
Yeah.
And obviously, Paul Power scored that fantastic goal in the semi-final against Ipswich.
Yeah, well, we was behind there.
Villa Park. Villa Park. Quality. I remember that day. It was 81, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then, of course, 12 years earlier, Neil Young had scored the winner at Wembley. Yeah. Great photograph. You've got some unbelievable pictures. Well, some great history there, mate.
Well, the other thing as well, when you talk about the '81 final, because Bobby McDonald, Tommy Hutchinson, and Jerry Gow, we got them all to a meeting.
Fantastic.
We got them all to a meeting on one night, on a Friday night.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, and
I met Jerry Gow actually at City. He was a great lad.
Oh yeah.
He fell on a few hard times. Is he still alive?
No, he passed away a few years ago now.
Did he? Yeah.
God bless him. He was a brilliant bloke.
I know.
But
last time when I spoke to him, he was living in a little room above a shop.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
Well, one which you see, because when our supporters branch was going, there was none of these emails and texts and all that sort of stuff. You just had to. We used to go down the training ground and just buy the people.
There still isn't in your world, though. We'll come back to that one. Go on, sir.
We used to just go down the training ground, my room. So, right, I told people, I said, like, we want to get Tommy Hutchinson, Jerry Gow, and Bobby McDonald. So we knew, but we didn't know anything about where Jerry Gow was. So somebody found out, because I think he'd been on holiday in Weymouth. And they said, oh, he's running a pub or something in Portland, which is across the road from Weymouth. So somebody went, seen him, given him letters, because I had letters everywhere, mate.
And what year was that then, when you got him up?
That was probably, I'd say 98, 99, 98.
Do you know what, that's when I met him. Yeah. I met him he went to a match.
Yeah.
And I met him at the match, and he was living in a room above a pub. So that's probably...
Well, we had them all on the pitch. I even got a pass. They gave me a pass all around the ground, pass on the day, because they give us free tickets, because they come to do on the Friday. Then we was in one of the lounges on the Saturday. But before that, they were introduced on the pitch, and they brought me with them. Everyone's cheering him. I thought, you don't get him free.
Don, you're a bit of a legend, man. You are a bit of a legend.
So then, after the game, because Jerry wanted to, so we ended up going in the players' changing room after the game and that and stuff. And but in the evening, I took him in a pub, took him in the Sherwood, near City's ground. Obviously, they were mobbed. Everybody mobbed them and stuff like that. Then we went back to the village. Now I was struggling, man. I'd have been, I'd like to think I can have a drink, but. Anyway, Jerry said and got in my room. I thought, oh, thank God for that, I can go home now. He's got a bed. He's only gone to his room to just get changed, ready for the night.
Oh, Jerry?
Yeah, be drinking all day.
Shame.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, it might be one of the reasons why he's not with us anymore.
Yeah. Same with a lot of people.
That's it. That's
a downside.
Well, absolutely. But we'll keep this light-hearted today, eh?
Oh, yeah.
We won't get too much into that. Yeah. But no, that club, amazing. And when I came down there quite a lot, and it was an amazing night. So the famous song, the Invisible Man song, I know there's lots of rumours, you can go on Google and there's ideas, but this is now from the horse's mouth, isn't it? You were right involved in it all from the day one. Do you want to tell the viewers the actual real proper true origins of that song?
Yeah, well, what happened in 1991, it was one of my mates, stag do's. So a load of us went to Amsterdam, as you did in the 90s, for a stag do. So while I was over there, I think it was the morning we was coming back, or maybe the evening, probably the morning we was coming back, we got word that a good friend of ours, Tommy Ryan, had passed away. He'd actually committed suicide, which had come as a massive shock to us all. Really top lad, lovely lad from Prestwich Whitefield border, somewhere around there. Top lad. So put a damper on it. So when we got back, we all said we'll meet up the week later and have a drink, carry on the stag do, and just generally meet up for a drink and a chat. So then, after a bit, one of the lads stood up, said, let's have a toast to Tom Ryan. Then we started singing his name, Tom Ryan, we was doing all that. And then some lad, Salty, God bless him, he's passed away now, he's a United fan, and this cuts all the myths out about how it was at Luton or Millwall. So he just stood up and started singing, if you drink you will die, if you don't drink you will die, so it's better to be drunk than be sober when you die, just like the fans of the Invisible Man, we're not really here. So it just catches, so we all started singing it in a pub. And I think,
what pub was this?
Foresters in Prestwich Village.
So that's where it all originated from.
Yeah. I'll give my mate a mention. Tommy McDonald, he was a landlord at the time, and he's like, oh my God, but he was well into it. He loved it. He's been with us with all the city games and everything like that. So that was like 1991, and then every now and again it was just sung in the pubs. If you drink you will die in that, and then. It really kicked off when City were playing in Ireland. We're playing Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. We're playing Athlone and Cork. And we ordered two coaches. There was big ones, I think, double deckers. That's the word I'm looking for. Double deckers. So then, so it was a long trek from Athlone. So I was all just singing daft songs. So I started singing this one. And then when we got to the pubs, because obviously we had to have a stop off every now and again. So we were just singing it, and then more City fans were catching on. And then we was in a big pub at the night time, in a hotel it was. And I just stood up and we started singing it. Because it's a catchy tune, the end bit, so it was all bouncing. And then after the game, we got invited to the Cork supporters branch. So loads of us turned up there. There's a great afternoon there singing and that. So they invited me to get on stage to say a few words because we brought like a load of fans over. So I'm like 3 sheets to the wind by this time. I thought, what am I going to say? So I just stood up and started singing, if you drink you will die, if you don't drink you will die. So again, everybody in the pubs just started singing it. Then it was the first time I heard it at football. I think it was can't remember, either Lincoln or Grimsby away, nothing to do with me, started singing off in the pubs. But I think everyone had heard it so much in Ireland and it was very catchy, so it started then. And then the myths were born. People said, oh, I heard it in Luton, or I heard it there, or I heard it there. But you didn't. The people that heard it first were in the Foresters. And to say, it wasn't a football song, it was just basically because this lad that passed away.
Right.
And it was City United fans, Bury fans, rugby fans, people who were not into football singing it. It was just a mad Sunday afternoon,
amazing.
Like you do. And then it just took off. And since then, I don't know if you know, there's been plays about it, T-shirts about it, and all sorts about it,
It's amazing. It's amazing. You left your mark. It's like a great songwriter writing a great song, isn't it? You know what I mean? Unfortunately, obviously, it all started with one of your pals committing suicide, which is really sad, but and left a legacy.
Well, I mean, we spoke about it afterwards as well, and no one saw the signs, that he was going to commit suicide, right. And I think most of the time you don't, do you?
Wow, such a shame.
Yeah, definitely. Such a young lad as well.
Was he? How old was he?
Probably in his 30s then, middle 30s or something like that.
What an absolute spewer.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yeah.
So now, Don, you're living over in Spain a lot of the time, aren't you?
Turkey.
Oh, Turkey, sorry. Yeah, Turkey.
We've got an apartment out there, so we spend a lot of time in Turkey and here. We just flirt backwards and forwards now. Right. If we've got to come over for any events, Christmas, birthdays, stuff like that, we'll come over, and then all the family come over to visit us over there.
And is the Prestwich and Whiteford supporters still as lively as it used to be?
No, and it's no disrespect to the people that run it now. I mean, if I was running it now, it wouldn't be like it was them 20, 30 years ago. It was the right time and the right place for it. City were crap.
Yeah.
City were crap. A lot of players were on the piss, basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ex-marriages was as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we had the perfect storm to get it going.
It was a whole drinking culture, wasn't it?
Yeah. Plus, we had great people like you who had contacts. We had other people that had contacts, and Kevin Keegan actually come at one of our meetings without even being invited. He just turned up. He come with John Wardle.
That's brilliant.
He come with John Wardle. He come another time, just turned up. Plus, he done that sportsman dinner for us at the cricket club. Remember that, the Lancashire Cricket Club?
Yeah.
Done a sportsman dinner for us there.
I've just flicked through your books there. We've got Ian Brightwell coming on in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Great lad, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's not a massive nutcase or anything, but there's a picture in your book there of you and Ian Brightwell having a drinking race over a pint. Can you imagine that today?
Oh, not at all.
It's just not going to happen, is it?
No.
So I know I don't. Yeah, it's not repeatable again, is it? It's just how it was, you know. And but fair play, you were there, mate. And what an experience as a City fan. I mean, think about all the people you've met. It's like unbelievable.
Well, like I got invited to Kit Simons' wedding, you know, and also Chris Greenacre's wedding. Got invited to them, and Kit Simons' house. Kit Simons.
Lovely. What a lad.
What a top bloke.
Absolutely.
Well, couple of quick stories. He was doing. He done loads for our branch, by the way. A drop of a hat, he'd come down.
Yeah, he was a star.
It was brilliant. So, I think the Rochdale Supporters Club had organised a 10-pin bowling competition and stuff, so Kit got loads of players up there. So afterwards, my two lads were there, Kath was there, and then Kit says, we're going for something to eat in one of these places where there's fancy foods or something. So we went there, and Aunt Shauna ordered something. It didn't look good at all, and it wasn't what he thought he was getting. Kit just seen his face, the Kit just swapped. Kit just said it is. He said, here, you want that, Sean? So Sean ate that. You know, Sean was telling that for school for weeks, you know, I don't think anyone believed him.
Oh, yeah, he's just a top guy.
Then he dropped Sean off in his, I think he had a yellow sports car at the time or something. Dropped Sean off at, our house in that, yeah. Fantastic. The other time, he invited us up to his house where he lived, where all the football
Bowden, yeah.
So he invited us up to his house.
You live next door to Tommy Wright. You know Tommy, don't you?
Yeah, Tommy, he was a top bloke, yeah. So we went down there, because he said he'd come for your tea. So we said, all right, I'll come for tea. Brilliant, kids were buzzing at there. So she said, I'm going to Chippy, what do you want? So he went to Chippy, kids were playing PlayStation or stuff, whatever they were doing. I don't know whether Lucy went to the Chippy, somebody went to Chippy anyway.
Yeah.
And they used to come back with pickled eggs and chips and stuff. You couldn't make it up. Fantastic.
One of the best lads. I remember when it was his that became captain and Christmas came and he knew I knew all the lads who owned bloody clubs and bars and stuff.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I could sort out a good bar to have the Man City players' Christmas party. And bizarrely, I don't know whether he'll thank me for this, but Mark Stott, who now owns Stockport County, he just opened a wine bar in Wilmslow called the Eskimo Bar. So I asked if we could borrow it, for the day for this, basically it's just for a bender, really. And of course, unfortunately, not proud of this today, but we had strippers on and a comedian and Georgie Kinclancy, we had him on the stage and things were happening to him that shouldn't have been happening to anybody. And if it had been the days of the now with the cameras, oh my god, so Georgie, look, Kit was just a great lad, but what a talent George Kinclancy won. I mean, the skill that he had was just phenomenal, wasn't it?
It's just a pity it was our team. It was at our club with that team. If he was with better players and better coaches and things like that.
We had 2 relegations with him, which is really bizarre. He was such a talent.
Yeah.
Who would you say out of all the lads who came down there? Who would you say was the friendliest? Who was the most amenable? Would it be Kit or?
Kit, and also Tommy Booth, what a star he is. He's from our neck of the woods as well, Langley, Middleton. He's got dozens of our dues.
Yeah.
Phone him up, he'll turn up and things like that. It was brilliant. But if you're just getting back on to Gio Kincarsley, again, which has never happened, with the present players or even players years ago. He went to Ajax, and I just bombarded letters, to the press secretary at Ajax, to Kincarsley, to anybody, and said we're coming over. Will you meet up with us? Well, my brother lives in Amsterdam, and a couple of weeks before that I was over seeing my brother, and a lot of bars, they're not massive big bars, so we found one, and I said to the owner, I said, look, if I bring about 50, 60, 70 lads in, will you put a barrel on and I'll pay for a barrel and we'll see how it goes from there. So he's thinking, he's never going to bring 60 or 70 lads in here. I says, oh, that's minimum. I says, well, I'm organising it. He said, if you bring them in, I said, I'll stick a barrel of beer on for nothing and then see what you can do. I said, oh, fair enough. So then I said to the lads, I didn't even organise a trip then. So I said, we're going to Amsterdam. So put it out. So again, I could have took 3 coaches, but it's a lot of migrant organisation. So again, we just took one of them double-decker ones, about 60 or 70 seater. And then we had to go, we were going to watch, because we were playing on a Friday night, we were going to watch the game on a Friday night, but one reason we got there late, so we never even got to the game on a Friday. So we'd all organised to watch the players train as well, but a lot of us didn't want to watch the players train, so I give letters out.
Because drink was more important, wasn't it?
Culture talk, we was Van Gogh Museum and all that.
It's mad, isn't it, though, isn't it? You can watch the players train or have a drink, you'll have a drink instead, even though you've gone all the way to friggin' Amsterdam. It's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
well, let me tell you more about Thailand in a minute as well. So anyway, I give all these letters out. I said, just pass them on to the secretary or Kincarsley. So anyway, the secretary, the press secretary, actually got Gio to go actually meet everybody. Says all these lads and girls and everyone will come over to see you. So they give him the letters, said, this is where we're meeting at the night time, will you come and all that lot. So it was a wing and a prayer, if I was a gambling man, I'd have said 70-30, he's not going to turn up.
Yeah.
Anyway, he turned up.
Oh, bless.
He turned up, and the place was bedlam.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely bedlam. And there was a couple of ladies with us, they're not interested in football, they just come for a crack. And they were trying to find where this bar was, because we all said we'd meet at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and all they could hear was singing, and they said, oh, that'll be Don's mob.
Yeah.
That'll be Don's mob, let's just head for there. So he was there, so we put a City shirt on him, he was signing everything like that.
Bless him.
So, but the landlord at the pub, he said, I think he was giving cocaine out as well to everybody stuff like that, yeah. So, the deal was, he'll put a barrel on, so I paid for a barrel of it. Nobody paid anything else all night. Nobody paid a thing. I think if you're drinking Coca-Cola or some cider, that's all the thing. But he was off his head.
What, the landlord?
Landlord was off his head. I mean, he'd never get that many in a boozer before, it was all...
Probably did 10 barrels in.
Yeah. Then he brought us food. There was well and everything. So
if he's spewing the next day when he worked out how much he spent.
Yeah. Anyway, we made Darbo. He lost his teeth. Sorry about this, Darbo, I'll have to tell him. He lost his teeth. So anyway, I phoned the bar up, got the old telephone up for us. So I spoke to the landlord. I says, have you found my mate's teeth? No, he said, but I've got credit cards, I've got wallets, I've got combs, I've got everything, I've got a couple of jackets, pair of shoes, I've got everything, but not your mate's teeth.
It's mad, isn't it? Just mad.
Yeah.
But, the culture, your club was like bevy, wasn't it, mate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, how's your drinking these days, Don?
I'm moderate now. I'm moderate.
Oh, good.
I'm very moderate. No, I go weeks without having a drink, and then I only have a drink a couple of times a week as a rule. But that'll be going out the window tomorrow. I'm on a cruise tomorrow. I'm going on a cruise. Yeah.
All right, way off. Anyway, good.
Flying to the Dominican Republic.
Oh, cool.
And then coming back to call a transatlantic cruise. It's repositioning until the ship gets back to Spain, and the Canaries for the winter, for the new season. So that's all inclusive, so no doubt I'll indulge one or two.
Well, you're used to ships because you're an ex-Navy boy, aren't you?
That's right, yeah, joined the Navy when I was 15 and a half.
How many years? And you were a chef?
Yeah.
And this one is a little bit, how many years in the Navy?
Nearly 8 years.
8 years in the Navy. But the next thing I'm going to tell you, guys, is Don was a chef in an alcohol detox unit for 15 years, which does make me laugh. I'm sorry, should have got half your mob from the Prestwich and Whitefield.
Yeah. Half of them have been in there. Honestly, people used to rock up. You know, they've been on plane trips that are organised. They used to organise plane trips as well. You know.
So was it a detox unit? Was it?
Yeah.
And whereabouts was it?
It was Ellesmere Park in Eccles.
Right.
The house must have been place must have been worth, I don't know, in them days, a couple of million. It was, all the houses there were like, you know.
And how many people did you get in there?
15 at a time, 15 to 16 at a time. It was geared up for them. And they used to do a detox programme between 4 and 6 weeks.
Right.
But then the powers to be thought that was too long, and they got them in, you know, bigger turnover, but then there was much less chance of them recover, you know.
Yeah.
But all the people, while they was in there, they were brilliant. But it's when they go out back to their home environment, you know, back to their mates, back to the conditions that they was coming from, that's when they can relapse again.
Well, that's it. That's the massive challenge. That's when you go in rehab, you see, you're all nice and safe and cosy.
Yeah.
And when you come out, you know, and you know, I had links with sporting chants when I worked at Wolverhampton Wanderers for 5 seasons. With Mick, give me a nice little part-time job down there. And I found that, you know, we get a player in there, they do great, but then they come back out. Yeah. And people need support when they come out of these places. But you know, there you go. That's
some district did give the support because it was a centre of excellence, this Wentworth House, centre of excellence. They wanted to come from everywhere to put people in there. And then, you know, from Cumbria and places like that. And some people did get excellent support. And other people went on, they finished a detox, they done nursing training, they went on to be social workers, they done all sorts of things, which was good for them. And it gives the people a boost, you know, that are actually the nurses and all the staff. Because there were social workers there, physiotherapists, there was, you know, the whole range, psychiatrists, everyone there, you know, giving it. So they were good.
Going back to Man City, how old were you when you first started supporting City?
Well, I was at school. I can't remember my first game, but I've got a picture when I was like 10-year-old with my City shirt, with one of the old City shirts on. And then I used to go with my brother and my dad when I was about 11 or 12.
So you didn't do the cup final in '69 or anything
No,
like that?
No. I was, I joined the Navy in '69.
Right.
Just just after the cup final. So I joined the Navy October '69, and I think that's when my drinking culture started.
Right,
later on in the Navy. But then
you're still here though, Don.
Oh, aye. Well,
I mean,
what it is, I mean, joined the Navy. When I was in the Navy, it is a massive drinking culture. Yeah. You know, you're 17. When I joined my first ship, I was only 17, and I didn't drink that much. But then we was flying out to Singapore, and we stopped. We flew on the RAF flight from Brighton Norton, and then we stopped at RAF Gan, which is in the Maldives. So we did all these lads. I mean, they're about 10 years older than me. They're coming for a drink. And for, you know, what can I do? Just sit on the plane on my own. So I always remember I had 6 cans of Tiger beer and 2 double vodkas and orange. And I was steaming. Getting back to the plane, going up there, I just threw up, and there was an officer that went all over his feet and stuff like that. So I just legged it, so I locked myself in the toilets. So this plane, it was going to fly, stopping at Singapore and going to fly to Hong Kong. They weren't going to fly, they were going to fly with me. So I'm like, it's my ears, I'm not drunk, it's my ears. So anyway, these older lads said, look, like, you know, you can't kick him off here. middle of, you know, the Indian Ocean sort of thing. So I sat with them, so it was all right. But then we got to Singapore, and they said, you're not going to Hong Kong now, you got to Singapore. No, officer wants to see you in Singapore. I thought, I'm well in shit for this. But what it was, and the ship wasn't even in Hong Kong. The ship was in Singapore that was joining. You know, someone got the wires crossed. I mean, good job this officer was there. I'd been flying to Hong Kong, there's no ship there.
So when you come out of the Navy...
Yeah.
How old were you when you come out of the Navy?
23. But
so is that when you chucked yourself into being a City fan then? What was?
Well, no, in the Navy I was mad at it when I was in the Navy.
Right.
Because when I was in Portsmouth and Weymouth and all them places, I used to go to all the London games.
Right.
And then I used to hitch it home as well. I used to hitch home from, from Portsmouth, Weymouth. And because of the IRA, they stopped us wearing uniform. All the military personnel couldn't wear uniform. But I used to put my Navy hat on there, and it was brilliant. You used to get lifts, dead easy, your Navy hat and everything like that. And, I mean, there was one atrocity. I mean, I'd been home for the game. I think we was playing Tottenham. And at Chalton bus station, they used to have all the military coaches there going back. And it was more at this time, there was a train strike on. And the IRA actually planted a bomb on one of the coaches. And it blew up on the M62, killing families. I think this must be probably 74 or something.
Wow.
Probably about 18, 20 people got killed.
Terrible.
But there was families on it as well because of the train strike. They couldn't go on the train.
Right, yeah.
It was awful, and that's like one of the reasons, but obviously they must have targeted. That's where, for the grace of God, they didn't know who's, because we probably just left a bag there, because we did. We left a bag there. We went to Portland bars across the road, a few beers, then come back and jumped on the bus.
Yeah,
and then hopefully fall asleep and wake up in Portsmouth.
Terrible.
Where we're going to. Yeah, so, it's another tragic thing. But, yeah.
So you went to a few, and then when you came out of the Navy, is that when you got your job at the detox unit?
Yeah. First of all, I couldn't settle when I come out of the Navy. I didn't have a job for it. I just thought, because I had City and Guilds in catering, I just thought I'd come out, get a job wherever, but that didn't work. So I went working at Prestwich Hospital for a bit as like a porter. I was doing a bit of cleaning and moving furniture and that about. And then a lot of.
I mean, isn't this mad when you think about this? Sorry for butting in there, but so you're in the Navy, then you're working as an hospital porter, and then you're going to go on to become chairman of the world's biggest Man City fan club. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Don't you think? It's pretty cool, mate. Well, I mean, that's a massive supporters club, and you're like the main man there, you know.
If you worked out a plan of how to get from there to there, you wouldn't go the route that I did, sort of thing, would you? No, you wouldn't do that sort of thing. It basically just, it just happened. But yes.
What do you mean it just happened? Come on. How do you actually become the chairman?
Well, I elected myself. I just said to the lads, but you can't do it unless there's a base behind you. I mean, you can't do what you're doing now unless you've got a base and support group behind you. You have to be like-minded people.
I've got George over here.
Well done, George. They have to be like-minded people, with the same wavelength and stuff like that to actually get things off the ground.
So did you nominate yourself chairman or did you get voted in?
Well, nobody else wanted to do it, so if I let that dickhead do it, he's got the gift of the gob. He can find
have you ever listed how many players that came? Have you ever listed how many actually came?
No, I should do sometimes.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get as many photographs as I can out of your books. And I'm going to put them on the Facebook page. So if you can get a few more followers on, it's Mike Wood, Woody and Horlock. Let's get a few more followers. And have a look at the stuff, because some of them are just priceless, mate. Got all the old City legends on there. Any top players back in the day that didn't come? Because most of them seem to be there. Anybody refuse you to come?
No. Joe Royle, he was the only manager that actually refused to come.
It's funny, isn't it? Everyone says to me Joe Royle's a great lad, so it's funny.
It probably is.
Yeah,
it probably is, but for some reason he didn't want. I think he didn't want to commit himself. He thought in his head, if you come to our meeting, you have to go to others.
Right.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? And Tuesday evening or Wednesday, things like that. But like John Wardle, David Makin, we had all the radio people down. Jimmy Wagg from the radio. Jeff Durbin used to come.
Jeff is lovely.
It was like a who's who of coming. Nick Leeson brought Bearing's Bank down. He rocked up.
Nick Leeson.
One lad come up to me.
Did he not go to prison, Nick Leeson, first?
Yeah, Singapore.
Oh, did he?
Singapore, Nick.
He was a City fan though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he come at some away, he come at Swindon away with us and everything like that.
I mean, imagine getting fame by bringing a bank down, bankrupting them.
Well, I said to everybody, I said, I'm going to get Nick Leeson to the next meeting. And this lad come up to me at the meeting. He says, you got him. I said, did you doubt me? He says, Don, if you told me you're bringing the pulp, he said, I'd believe you.
You've just got great pulling power, mate. Persistence. Fairness, I'm getting a little bit of that doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Getting people to come on, you got to be resilient, haven't you?
Well, you got to be able to. I don't know what the in business term it is, but I'm sure business people and pop stars didn't get accepted straight away. They keep knocking on the door. That's what I kept doing.
But Don, these days, you'd be absolutely screwed, mate. Let me just tell you. I've just picked Don up from the station. This is classic. So I was picking him up at 2:45, but he got the early train. But he couldn't ring me because he hasn't got a phone. So he doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have Wi-Fi at home. And he has no phone.
I have Wi-Fi, but it's my next door's. I'll give him a bottle of brandy for Christmas.
And his phone he's got only works on what?
WhatsApp thing.
The WhatsApp thing. George, you'll love this. George is our producer here. He's obviously pretty shit at all the technical stuff. George, when I press this button, this doesn't work and all that stuff. But I got to tell you, Don, compared with you, I'm a technical whiz kid.
I can take photographs with it.
But you're absolute legend. Yeah. Absolute legend. Any questions you want to ask me?
No, I mean, you told me that you've 23 years sober.
I've been in recovery 22 years, but I did actually relapse for one stupid night.
Right. When do you know that you can't go any lower and that you've got to do something about it? What kick-started you?
Everybody picks their own rock bottom. Yeah. So, and if you've not picked it, I went to try and help somebody yesterday, and I was looking at his life and thinking, this can't really get that much worse, but it's not bad enough for him, and you've got to get a white flag out and just do what's suggested. And you've really got to pick your own rock bottom, For mine, it was like when I was thinking, I don't really want to wake up in the morning.
Right.
It's not a good sign, is it? I'd have... I felt suicidal, but that was way back in 1990. I felt, but I got out of my particular issue there. Thought I was dying with AIDS and all that stuff, and then I've had so many things going on for me. But me as an addict, alcoholic, I was always looking for excitement. But I've seen you got your buzz off the club and getting the people in as well. You like the bit of excitement as well, didn't you? Looking for a bit of a buzz and stuff, and and I think that the downside of that is that I could hit real bad lows when things were going bad for me. And but
you never thought of seeing you're just bubbly all the time. And I think that's with a lot of people, isn't it? They put the face on.
When we're drinkers, how much of it is actually really genuinely how we feel, And we have acronyms that, in the fellowships, and one of them is FINE. I'd always say I was fine, but we say it stands for being fucked up, insecure, neurotic and emotional, FINE, Remember Mick McCarthy come and visit me in the psychiatric hospital when I had a nervous breakdown. He said, I can't, out of all my mates, I never thought I'd see you in here. People think I didn't give a shit, but it was a blag. It was all a big blag. My whole fucking life was a blag. No, it was. Everything was a blag. And getting to know footballers, that was all a blag. I was all my low self-esteem, wanting to get to know people and get, but...
Well, I think what I mean, in the Navy, when the ships was at sea, I hardly ever drunk. But when we was in the harbour, I was just bang at it. And I think one of the reasons for that, again, it comes back to a bit of low self-esteem. I was on HMS Achilles, and then I actually broke my leg, and I was put in an hospital in Africa.
Right.
2 days before Christmas, and all the lads, the ship was sailing, so all the lads brought me loads of drink and stuff like that, and so I was bang at it. anyway in the hospital. Anyway, the nurse, he says, you can only have 6 cans a day now, because I was getting a bit carried away. So then from there, they put me in a hotel, and it was like a yacht club, a sailors club. It was like people with wealth were there. So I thought, oh, this will do. So anyway, we've got to fly home soon, sort of thing. So then I got talking to the manager of the hotel, because I had no money, and the Navy consulate never come and brought me any spends. So I says, like, well, what's the crack here? So we said, and I never heard of credit and debit. I had no credit cards. This in the 70s. So we said, well, basically, if you want, just order your stuff in the hotel and just sign for it, and the Navy will pay for it. I said, will they? So he said, yes, he will bill them, and then see what happens after that. So I woke up in the morning, I thought I'll give this a go. So I ordered 2 beers and a steak butty. I thought, if you ask for money, you haven't got any money. So he said, no, just sign for it, Mr. Price. So that was it. All the time I was there, I was just signing for stuff. And don't forget, it was early 70s. I must have spent about I owed him about 120 quid. And everything else was paid for. This was just like miracle extras. Yeah. But there was one night, I got talking to this bloke, and he was a troubleshooter for one of the oil companies. And we just got talking. He said, do you ever fancy shark fishing? I said, oh, I'd love to. I said, I'd love to go shark fishing and that. 5 in the morning, don't forget, I've got a broken leg. 5 in the morning, knock on the door. What is this crazy? I've just hired a boat, we're going shark fishing. I said, are you mental or what? So I was going shark fishing. I spent the whole time throwing up because I'm not seasick, I was ill, from the drink. But when we come back in, I seen the Royal Naval van. It'd come up, I forgot I had to go to hospital to get my leg checked out so they could fly me back home. So then I thought, I'm not going home yet. So I just smashed my plaster up. So they come a couple of days later to take me to the hospital. Oh, I said, Mr. Price, you can't fly home with that plaster. Well, I says, can't I?
Stay here.
Yeah. So it's like 90 degrees. I'm buying things on tick. And by that time the Navy'd come and give me my wages as well. So I was happy as Larry. I didn't want to go back nowhere. So I just smashed the plaster up again. So twice I'd done it. So I was there about an extra 10 days before they flew me home.
But you were saying about low self-esteem before.
Yeah, well, this is the start of it.
Right, okay.
This is the start of it. Because after I broke my leg, I joined HMS Nelson in Portsmouth. I think it's called Nelson, whenever it's changed its name. Yeah. And I was there rehabilitating. And basically, my plaster was down to there, but I had to go and make people cups of tea and stuff. I thought, why can't they just leave me back in Manchester? Then I got drunk on my 21st birthday, and I actually got arrested. I got beat up on my crutches. I got beat up, and I got arrested. But when I got £10 fine at court, but at the same time I was getting promoted to be a leading hand, which is the equivalent of a corporal. So I goes in to see the officer, and he said, it's the first time it's happened to me, this. I got done for being done, because it's double jeopardy. You get done in the, by civilian police. Yeah. So I got punished for there again. But he promoted me to leading hand as well. He said, it never happened to me with this before. So anyway, I got that. But I had no qualification to be a leading hand. It was only an acting leading hand. So I had passed my City and Guilds by this point. So then I had to go to HMS Osprey. And I had to take charge of these people. And I had no experience for doing it. So then I went on a drink then, then I'm Jack the Lad. Yeah. But when I joined HMS Osprey, I ended up in Weymouth, and it was only like 5 o'clock. So I thought, I'm not bothering going there yet. So I didn't rock up till about midnight drunk. And there's nobody to sort me out with accommodation. So they put me in the cells for the night. Wasn't arrested or nothing. It was just the easiest place to put me. They said, we'll keep the door open. I said, no problem. So that was it. So then at HMS Osprey, I just really got into drink. I did get into drink quite a bit there. And then it was, I left, I went to HMS Devonshire. And it carried on. Even though I'd passed my City and Guilds and I was qualified and that, I just carried on drinking. And then it come to a point I was always getting arrested and stuff. But was on HMS Devonshire, and I was talking to these lads in the Stokers, good mates of mine now, Rattler, Dinger, Ray Gill and all them lot. And they were saying, we just got talking about pubs. I said, I've been in that pub. I said, I got beat up. They started talking to each other. It was them that beat me up. Them that beat me up and threw me out of the pub. You couldn't make it up. And I still meet with them now. I met with them last year in Liverpool. A lot of them from Liverpool. Met up with them. Yeah, so what I did, I actually bought myself out of the Navy before I actually got thrown out, because every 4 years you get a stripe, a good conduct stripe, but I actually lost mine before I actually got awarded it.
Right.
And then my leading hand, my equivalent of a corporal, I got demoted, I lost that as well.
Through Bevian?
Through Bevian, yeah. We was in Odessa, which was part of Russia, USSR at the time. It was a goodwill visit. We were the first British Navy ship to be there for about 35 years. So we were sort of being our best behaviour. So obviously you can't be. So anyway, I gets back on the ship. But we're giving half a uniform out, all the stuff out, people wanting souvenirs. So I've got my trousers on and a white T-shirt. And then someone said something and I got back on the mess deck, bit of fisticuffs. And then I got demoted for that. And then I got arrested for something else. And then I thought, I've had enough of this. But I thought it was the Navy that was a problem.
Yeah.
But it wasn't me. It wasn't the Navy, it was me and the drink.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I just calmed down. I can just manage my drinking now and everything. I got weeks, months without drinking and
Well,
stuff.
you're still here. You survived it, Don.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one good thing, I never got in. Lots of people got into cocaine and stuff like that. I never got into that. Thank God.
Probably a good job.
Hey.
It's probably a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. I don't liked it too much.
Well, anyway, Don.
Yeah.
We're coming up to the end of the time now, but I just want to say thanks for coming on.
Oh,
You're a
we've been on
superstar.
now. We've not been on.
An hour.
Oh, well, I thought,
55.
55 minutes.
I thought we were all doing half an hour.
Well, Don, you're an entertaining man, aren't you?
Good.
So I want to say thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Top man. Andy Morrison, get well soon. I know Dibs is on the mend.
Yeah.
Text Andy before.
Yeah.
He's obviously struggling, but
Yeah. All the best, lads. All the best.
And George, thank you for being our producer.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks, Don.
No worries. I loved it.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.